What's going on YouTube? This is Zach and we are back with another NBA DFS video for today, Sunday, March 15th. We have a 6-game slate that begins at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. So really excited to go ahead and go over this with y'all, give y'all the best possible picks and the content for building your one lineup approach. If you're new to this channel, that is what this content is geared towards, providing the players and the picks that you can use in building your single lineup and not have to worry about using an optimizer and trying to get exposure to every possible player out there. So before we start this video, really appreciate if you just hit the subscribe button right here, like this video. That really helps this channel grow as we continue to push out more content for all your favorite DFS sports. So let's go ahead and jump into today's slate, starting out with my favorite game. So it is a 6-game slate, a smaller slate. But the 2 games that I'm probably going to be the most heavily focused on, they are going to be this Toronto versus Chicago game, and then this Portland versus Minnesota rematch that we just saw last night that had a couple players put up some really big scores. So Toronto played Charlotte last night. They are on the tail end of a back-to-back. However, Toronto played terribly. I think when I saw in the first quarter, they were down like 19-2. And so their starters really didn't get huge minutes. They didn't get a lot of run in that game. So not too concerned with being on the tail end of a back-to-back. I think Toronto really wants to try and win this game against Chicago, obviously, right? But again, they're probably a little bit more determined after just being embarrassed by Charlotte yesterday. They fought back a little bit towards the end of the game, but ultimately just a terrible performance by the Raptors last night. And then Portland versus Minnesota. Again, these 2 teams just played last night, and I don't see any reason why their defense got better overnight. So I like a lot of pieces from this game as well, especially some of the pieces where we saw prices come down to where they just were last night. So jumping into my favorite stud plays. So these are going to be players priced $9K and above. Pretty short list on the studs for today, but starting up top, Damien Lillard at 10.3K. Again, I mean, one of the more underrated players in the league. He's definitely a guy that you need him to score like at least 30 real life points to really hit value at that price tag, but he has a very high probability of doing so against this Minnesota squad. Damien's one of those guys who can go off any given night, drop 40 real life buckets. Probably he's not going to give you, a ton of auxiliary stats like, assists and rebounds and defensive ability. But I mean, his upside is still there at this price point against this really good matchup. So I definitely like Damien Lillard a lot at that 10.3 price. But going right underneath him, we have Trey Young at $1,000 cheaper at 9.3. And I view Trey Young and Damien Lillard very similarly when it comes to DFS, just because to me, they're almost the same type of DFS player, right? They're going to score a lot of real life points. And I think even maybe Trey Young's assist numbers or assist upside is slightly better. Damian Lillard has the slightly better matchup today against Minnesota, but Trey Young has a very good matchup himself against Cleveland. And Trey Young's one of those players who can always have, that any given night go off for 30, 40 real life points and break the slate. And so at $1,000 cheaper, I probably do like Trey Young slightly more than Damian Lillard. But if you're going for an all-out game stack with that Portland, Minnesota, definitely want to make sure that you get some Dame Lillard in there as well. And then rounding out my favorite studs at 9.1K, probably my favorite stud on the slate and someone that I'll be putting into my lineup for sure is going to be Mr. Karl Anthony Towns. So Portland is terrible down low inside. Enes Kanter is, definitely not one of the better defenders in the league. But Karl Anthony Towns at 9.1, we saw him drop 60 DK points last night, 34 and 10 stat line, double-double. And there is no reason he can't do that again tonight. Again, I don't think Portland all of a sudden just got better down low overnight. And so Karl Anthony Towns is definitely probably my favorite stud on the slate at a very, very affordable price point at 9.1. So let's go ahead and lock you in some of the big cat and watch him feast tonight. Moving on to the favorite upper mid-range plays for me. These are going to be players priced between the 7 and 9K price point. So starting up top, we have Kyle Lowry at 8.6. Again, those Toronto starters didn't get that huge of a run last night. Laurie played terribly last night, still put up 40 DK points. So at 8.6, Kyle Lowry is almost priced accordingly. He's slightly still underpriced, I feel, just because Toronto is so undermanned with all the injuries and COVID related misses. But Kyle Lowry at 8.6, like, I'm probably not going to go out of my way to grab him. But if you have 8.6 left in your utility or your guard position, I would definitely love to get some Kyle Lowry at that point. Again, he's not gonna. I don't feel he's gonna break the slate at this price point, but he's really consistent. He should get you at least 40, probably 45 DK points, and at this price point, that'll do just fine. But again, I think there's other point guard and guard better plays out there than Kyle Lowry so far, but don't hate him here. Then we drop down to 7.7K priced Clint Capela going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers and Jarrett Allen. Clint Capela has now posted back-to-back 40-plus games as far as DK scoring, and I see no reason why we can't just go right back to Mr. Clint Capela. Always a threat for, a 2015 kind of night, and I think he's very appropriately priced at this location. I don't like him more than Cat. I would much rather go up to Karl Anthony Towns. But if you have the funds, Clint Capela is another great option at this upper mid-range price. And then right underneath him, we have Norman Powell. Same story as we've been saying for these Toronto guys. Didn't get a ton of run yesterday, but they're going to need his scoring ability for sure. Before last night's game, he was on a tear as far as scoring the ball. Put up high 30s, low 40 DK points pretty consistently. And I think he bounces back today in Chicago, against Chicago, at this 7.4 price tag. And I do like some Norman Powell today as well. I think they're going to need this, again, scoring ability on the wings. Chicago's not that great defensively, and I think he can really bounce back tonight. We saw him get rolling a little bit towards that second half of last night's game, so hopefully that momentum carries over to today. Now, going into my favorite lower mid-range, these are going to be players priced between 5 and 7K. And that's probably my favorite range of the slate today. So starting at the very top, Enes Kanter. Again, Minnesota-Portland game. Minnesota's not great on the inside defensively either. As skilled offensively as Karl Anthony Towns is, he definitely lacks on the defensive side of the ball. So I do like stacking that game with both centers, going with some Kanter and Karl Anthony Towns. Kanter just posted close to 40 DK points last night. Again, see no reason why he can't do that. Exact same thing again, and he does have some upside at the 6.9K range. Dropping down a little bit, focusing on the Chicago side of the ball, we have Laurie Marketing at 6.2. Laurie's been getting rolling a little bit recently, and Chicago is doing some lineup changes. So we're seeing Wendell Carter going out of the starting lineup, and then we're seeing Kobe White also dropping out of the starting lineup in favor of Thaddeus Young and Tomas Saransky. And so I think Laurie Marketing just has that opportunity to become that, for sure, de facto number 2 scorer behind Zach LaVine in that starting lineup. And at 6.2, I think he's posted back-to-back games of 30-plus DK points. Definitely don't hate some Laurie Marketing at that power forward position. Going underneath him, now we have Steven Adams at 5.3K. Steven Adams doesn't get that much, run as far as minutes are concerned. So that is a little bit of a risk with him. He doesn't, you're not going to see 30 plus minutes of playing time. However, we've seen Steven Adams now post back-to-back really good scoring DK games, and at 5.3 going up against the Clippers, I don't hate it. Again, center positions probably a little bit loaded tonight as far as Capela, Cat, Kanter. And so I probably don't get to Steven Adams, but if you like some other players and you have 5.3K left over, definitely plug in Steven Adams. He should get you at least 20 points, if not more. And I think it's a solid play at that range. Now, going right underneath, back to that Portland game, we have Carmelo Anthony. Carmelo lit it up last night as far as scoring the ball, had 26 real life points, dropped a 40-plus bomb against Minnesota. And so at this price point, definitely going to have some interest in Carmelo, which I expect to be another high-scoring, fast-paced game for this Portland and Minnesota game. And now rounding out the lower mid-range, coming in at 5K. He's been supreme chalk since he came back and got recalled into the G League. Kevin Porter Jr. is just absolutely balling and tearing up the NBA lately with this run that he's getting. And, of course, he was priced near the minimum, which is an automatic lock, but I still think he's priced too cheap here, given that John Wall is still out, Eric Gordon is out. Oladipo's in right now, but I wouldn't be surprised to see they roll him out again. Kevin Porter Jr. at 5K has put up back-to-back 40-plus DK nights, and going up against Boston, I mean, he's going to get all the run that he can handle, and he's super skilled, super talented, and I see no reason why he can't, hit 6x value still on this price tag at 5K. Going into my favorite scrub plays now, these are going to be players priced under 5K and not that much value right now on the slate, but starting at 4.5, another Houston player that's getting the benefit of all the run of all these players being out. Again, no Christian Wood for Houston, no PJ Tucker for Houston, no John Wall, no Eric Gordon. And so KJ Martin had a really, really, really great game the last time we saw him, posting really, really big numbers at the minimum price. Again, his price tag now 4.5K, but I still think he can provide some really good value at this price point. Again, he's going to get run no matter what the outcome is in that Boston-Houston game. Boston probably going to blow them out, but in that point, KJ Martin gets to go against the second team for Boston and probably just, increases his value. And so I definitely like some KJ Martin at that power forward position going in at 4.5K. Second player right underneath him, we have Deandre Bembry. For the Toronto side of the ball, again, no OG Anunoby, no Fred VanVleet, no Pascal Siakam. And so Bembry's posted some pretty nice back-to-back games of 20-plus DK points. And I do like some Bembry at 4.4K against Chicago. I think you can post a really solid value at that small forward position if you need it. And now going down to the cheapest scrub that we have at 3.2K, we have Mr. Tomas Saransky. So as I mentioned earlier, Saransky now getting put in the starting lineup. They're putting Kobe White to the bench. Kobe White more of, just a pure scorer, almost like a Lou Williams type of player. And so I think they want to see if he can fit that 6-man role better than he can in the starting lineup. And so Saransky, I wouldn't expect anything too crazy from him, but he is a very, very solid point guard player. He can get you some solid assist numbers, a little bit of scoring here and there. And at 3.2, I think he can very easily get 15 to 20 DK points in that starting role. Again, I wouldn't expect him to go crazy and hit 10x value. That's just not the type of player he is. But if he's getting starters minutes, I do feel that he's priced too cheap here at 3.2K and make a solid value piece to get some more studs into your single lineup build. And so that's going to be it for today's slate, guys. Again, please like and subscribe to this video, help this channel grow, and let's go get that money tonight. Thanks, y'all.